9. 2 Chronicles 29. I've been thinking about this for a while. It was actually part of a conversation I heard, and I think it's kind of neat. Jeremy's devotion is kind of a little bit of a line of what I was thinking too. So, but we're going to read two scriptures here in 2 Chronicles 29, starting in verse 10. Now it is in mine heart to make a covenant with the Lord, God of Israel, that his fury, wrath may turn away from us. Now my sons, be not negligent, for the Lord hath chosen you to stand before him, to serve him, that ye may minister unto him and burn incense. We're going to stop right there. I'm going to go back in a minute, but I want to look at what King Hezekiah is saying right here. He says, for the Lord hath chosen you. This actually came from a conversation that Regina had with her mother and said, Mom, we are blessed to have been born in this time and to see what's going on. And I got to thinking about that. What an encouragement. Just think about when you look out here in this world and you see all this wickedness going on from our government to just local stuff. And I got to think, how exciting is this? Just like Jeremy brought out that in the devotion about the Pharisees were looking for a sign. We don't need a sign. But isn't it exciting to see the signs? That God has opened up and we can see everything being revealed in Revelation today. And to me, it's exciting to think about what's going on. And it was just really neat. But then we look in Matthew 24. Hold your place there because we're going to come back. Matthew chapter 24. And this has just been encouragement. I've gone over this for quite a while now. Matthew 24, verse 42. And this is Jesus talking. Watch, therefore, for ye know not what hour the Lord doth come. But know this, that if the goodman of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would have not suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye ready, for in such an hour as this, as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. We got to be watching. And also over in Mark chapter 13. Mark chapter 13. 13 in verse 31. We'll start in verse 30. Verily I say unto you, that this generation may not pass till all things be done. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. Take heed, watch, pray, for ye know not when this is. And to me, we live in that time. And I remember as a young person, I would, we'd read those scriptures and it'd say, watch. What am I watching for? What am I watching for? And I kept confused about what I was watching for. But it's not confusing anymore to me. It's more revealing to see what is going on and to know a comfort that I have been chosen to see the things that are going on right now. And I think it's kind of neat to look out there and watch the world fall apart. And the more I see the world falling apart, I'm detaching from the world more and more. And as I'm detaching, I'm attaching more to God. He gives me more comfort to know that no matter what's going on out there, I'm still okay. I'm okay. I know where I'm going. And I tell people, I can't believe all this is happening. I can. And I tell them, I've read the end of the book. I know what happens. I know how it ends. What side are you on? And I get encouraged to know that I'm seeing things like this. And it's been neat for me. But we'll go back to 2 Chronicles 29, and and I want to go through this, and I want to show some things, hopefully this month as my lessons go on, of different things that's happened in the Bible, of people who got to see things that I never thought about. They were blessed, just like we are. But we'll start in verse 1 here. Hopefully I got the name right. Hezekiah began to reign when he was 25 years old, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Abijah, the daughter of Zerah, and he did that which was right in the sight of David, according to all that David his father had done. He, in the first year of his reign, in the first month, opened the door of the house of the Lord and repaired them. I think this is kind of neat. His first task of government. He's now become ruler, and I don't know how all it was when they set him up as king and how much hoopla there was, and they got to be crowned. But the first thing he did in his first year, the first month, he opened the door of the house of the Lord and repaired it. He wanted to serve the Lord. And you go over in the chapter before, his dad was a terrible king. He worshiped Baal. He sacrificed Baal under every tree. He even sacrificed his own kids. And I got to thinking about this. Here Hezekiah, he's 25 years and new. He didn't want to go the way his dad. He was hearing the prophets that were being preached in that time frame, and we'll get into it. I get too far ahead of myself. But he wanted to serve the Lord. And the first day, the first month, the first year of his reign, he opened up the doors. And then, starting in verse 4, and he brought in the priests and the Levites and gathered them together into the east street and said unto them, Hear me, O Levites. Sanctify now yourself, sanctify the house of the Lord your Father, and carry forth the filthiness out of the holy place. He said, now open up, we got the doors open. It's time to clean house. Get yourself prepared because we're going to serve the Lord. And he said, verse 6, For our fathers have transgressed and done that which is evil in the eyes of the Lord our God, and hath forsaken him, and have turned away their face from their inhabitants of the Lord, and turned their backs. And they have shut up the doors of the porch, and have put out the lamps, and have not burned incense, nor offerings, or burnt offerings in the holy place unto the Lord God of Israel. He said, look at what our fathers have done. They went in, turned off the lights, shut the doors, boarded them up, and said, we're done. We're not serving this God anymore. We're going to serve the pagan gods. We're going to sacrifice unto them. And here Hezekiah had seen this. He's 25 years old. And he said, I don't want no part of it. And this is why he said, this is what Hezekiah had seen in these next verses. Wherefore, the wrath of the Lord is upon Judah and Jerusalem. He hath delivered them into terrible and astonishment, and to hissing, and to see with your eyes, as you see with your eyes. He said, look around. Can you see what's going on in our own country, in our own land? He said, this is because we have forsaken God. That's just like in our own nation. We have forsaken God, and all the filth and the sin that we do in this world, we've walked away. Our nation has turned away from God. And we wonder, well, why is this happening? It's not just a sign of the end times, but it's because we walked away from God. And that's what's happened here. I just think it's kind of neat when you look at it, and when Hezekiah says, and our fathers have turned off the lights of the church and went home. They've quit serving. And he said, now you look around, you can see this. For lo, in verse 9, for lo, our fathers have fallen by the sword, and our sons and our daughters, our wives, and are in captive for this. He said, this is why this is going on, guys. He said, you look around, you can see it. And then I want you to look at, this is where we started. In verse 10. Now this is in my heart. This is in Hezekiah's heart to serve the Lord. And it was a burden. And I wonder when, as a 25-year-old, he knew he was going to be king. And I wondered if he had been thinking about it. How long had he thought about, okay, first thing I want to do is I want to get that tabernacle, the temple opened up, and I want to get the filth of all this mess cleaned up and out of our nation. I want to serve the Lord. He had a desire because it was in his heart. And I wonder how long he had seen his dad and the rest of the nation and how they had went to Baal and served other gods. And he said, it ain't working. This is why we're where we're at. And all the trouble is because we're not serving God. And he had it in his heart to make a covenant with the Lord God of Israel, that his furious wrath may be turned away from us. And then this is where he says, my sons, be thou not negligent, for the Lord hath chosen you to stand before him, to serve him, and that ye should minister unto him in burnt incense. And I want to think about that. I think as him standing before all these priests and Levites, he says, guys, I'm just a king, but you guys have an honorable position to serve God directly, to minister to what he wants you to do in burning incense, the priest taking offerings and burnt offerings and all that. I think he was excited to see that somebody else he looked at their job as a bigger and better job than what he had as king. And I thought that was kind of neat, because he's looking at it like, you people, you guys have been chosen. Just like we've been chosen to live in this time, to see what's going on out here in this world and the mess that it is in. And I think it's neat that if we look at it as being a blessing and not a discouragement. And to me, it's kind of neat to think about how long is it going to be before I see Jesus, before I see God. And as I see times and things of this world, as it just keeps getting wickeder and wickeder, I don't want no part of that anymore. Especially when I was younger, the world had a draw, and it still does. But I know I have to work at staying closer to God. And the closer I get to God, the more I want to see him. I get excited about thinking about that. But then I get scared, and I think about the people that are lost in in my family, my friends. I worry about them. I pray for them. And I want them to see what I see. And I don't understand why people don't see what I see. So, to me it's exciting to know that what's next? We've seen Israel become a nation. And my parents, my grandparents, my in-laws, they were there. They were born. They seen some things. And I like this next verse. I'm only going to read the first few words. And then the Levites arose. And it calls out their names here. But they got excited. They were ready to go to work. And they go over all them. And you go to verse 15, because it names all the different priests and Levites and what they did. And in verse 15, and they gathered their brethren and sanctified themselves and came according to the commandment of the king by the word of the Lord. And this wasn't just Hezekiah talking. This is the word of the Lord. The Lord said, go and let's get this done. To cleanse the house of the Lord. And the priests went into the inner parts of the house of the Lord and cleansed it and brought out all the uncleanliness that they found in the temple of the Lord into the court of the house of the Lord. And the Levites took it and carried it out abroad unto the brook Kidron. They went in and just started carrying out and dumping it in the river. And I want to do a study on the brook Kidron. Do you realize how much stuff has been dumped in that brook? I mean, there's tons of stuff that's been, idols that's been ground up, chopped up, burnt, and dumped in that brook. There's a lot of stuff if you look through the history. Brook Kidron's got to be a pretty good river. But we'll keep on reading here. Now it came, and they began in the first day of the first month to sanctify, and on the 8th day of the month came they to the porch of the Lord, and they sanctified the house of the Lord in the 8th day, and in the 16th day of the first month they made an end. It took them 16 days to clean, to sanctify, to haul the garbage out of the house of the Lord. That's a long time to clean a lot of garbage up. I think that's pretty cool. And they were excited about it. They hauled it down to the brook. They come up with something. Well, what do you want to do with that? Well, it looks like junk. Haul it to the brook. Get rid of it. 16 days. And in verse 18, and then they went unto Hezekiah the king and said, we have cleansed all the house of the Lord, and the altar of burnt offering, and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread table, and all the vessels thereof. Moreover, all the vessels which King Hezekiah in his reign did cast away, and in his transgression have we prepared and sanctified, and behold, they are before the altar of the Lord. So they even had to go out and find some stuff. They went and found and made sure everything was prepared. Even what his dad had carried off, and I could see things had been tore up, and they brought it back, they cleansed it, and the sanctifying and all that. There was more to it than just, here it is, we're ready to use it. I mean, it had to go through a process to make sure it was clean and it was prepared for what was next. So, it took them 16 days to get everything ready. But as you read on, then Hezekiah the king rose up early, gathered the rulers of the city, and went unto the house of the Lord. It's just like today. We're the first, kind of getting back in the church after being sick. It's exciting. It's, together, I listen to preachers on TV, YouTube, but exciting to come back and to see each other and to find out you're doing good and how you struggled through things. But here, Hezekiah, when he told these priests, you've been chosen, just think about what they had seen. They went into the church, the house of the Lord, the temple, and all that junk they got to carry out. And I wonder how many of them said, hey, I remember how this used to be. And how was it that we used to serve here? Some of the old timers that were like, isn't this great? Telling the young priests and Levites, hey, this is how it used to be. This is how it's gonna be. And I think we ought to be ready to know that this world is coming to an end. And it's neat to, like I said before, we're watching, and God has told us to watch, and now we're seeing those things come about. And that we should be telling what we know. The Lord has blessed us. And I thought of Tim's message on Wednesday night, how he said, I wish I could get a big auditorium and bring all my friends in and have them so I could tell them what God's done for me. And I thought as he was going through that and what he wanted, and I thought, you know, that's what I've wanted. Not just an auditorium. I want my family. You know, I want my kids to know where I came from. I want them to know that where God's done for me. People I work with. I want the world to see God in me. And as he was going through that, I thought about it. He had and we have a small group of people right here, but that auditorium out there is YouTube. And I got to thinking about that. You know, maybe one of them captains of your ships one day is flipping through YouTube and just happened by chance to see you at the beginning of the video and go, wait a minute, I remember Tim Marshall. He was on my ship back in wherever. And he gets to listen. How do we know? You know, you said, these people won't come. I'd have to beg them to come. But we don't know when you're watching, flipping through YouTube, how many messages, how many preachers just for this church, it does on mine, that pop up. Different meetings we've had. You know, to me, the time that we're living in, we're able to push that word out there farther than it's ever been. You know, I think about, you know, you got, what was it? Some of those famous preachers, they've got all those books and sermons all written out, Spurgeon. And now, even what I get to say, and that's what worries me, I want to make sure what I say is right. When I get up and have a lesson, I want to be right where I'm at. And that's why you got to get close to the Lord to make sure. And I'm hoping that if I say something wrong, God turns it around and nobody hears what comes out wrong. It goes out right. But I want to continue my next lessons of different people that were in the times of being able to see things that were going on, and they were the first. And we should be excited about what's going on, because this world has not got long. And I'm getting excited because I want to see how it ends. I know how it ends, but we don't know exactly how it's going to end and when he's going to take us out. And to me, it's an encouragement. Don't look at the world, look at God. Because that's where our hope is. And that's where our strength is. No matter how bad everything goes, we may all not have a job, and the church still has property, and we have to actually meet out there on J around a bonfire. And that's something I think, knowing what to fight for and what not to fight for. But one thing we ought to pray for is pray that God allows us to continue to gather together and serve Him, no matter if it's in somebody's house, out there on J around a bonfire, or wherever we go, or whatever God has for us, that God allows us to have a peaceful time, to be able to still tell people about God and what He's done for us. And this has been an encouragement to know that I have been blessed to be born in this time and this era to see how God's going to work and change the world. And I'm getting excited to think about when God's going to put His foot down on Mount Zion and Him reign for 1,000 years. I'm getting excited about those things. And it's encouraging to me. Even though what's going on in the world is discouraging, I got to just stay away from it. And hopefully, as I continue to go through this, it'll be encouraging to you to see the different people and the things in their lives that they did and what happened. And it's just, to me, it's neat to look at. But we're going to close with a word of prayer, and hopefully this has been a blessing to you guys as it has been to me. But dear Heavenly Father,